Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this morning. Got a good show lined up. Got a special guest here. But first, let's take a look at our weather, brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning. Drew Pollard and hard-working crew trying to keep us cool in this hot weather, like 93, and it feels like really, really hot. Now, the water temperature, though, that's what's really going up. It went up yesterday, we said 88, today 89. And there's some other places that's reporting up into the 90s, the low 90s. That's phenomenally hot this time of year. River readings brought to us by Panama City Coca-Cola bottling. We're looking at Apalachicola at Bluntstown. It's right at 3.94 foot, got a little bit of a drop to it. The Choctahatchee at Caryville, it went up, but it's still reading like a 2.2, but it's about to go up with the steady rain they've had over there. So it'll be some little bit of rising water, nothing bad. Now, the wind will become a west-southwest at about 12. Looking at our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Today is August the 9th on a Wednesday. We're looking at pretty decent tide, a really strong outgoing tide this afternoon. It's going to be high this morning at 3:45. We've already had high tide. It's going out really strong till about 4:25 this afternoon. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and be back with our guest. Okay, welcome back, and look who's here this morning. Every month, Officer Travis Bassford of FWC is gracious enough to come on the show and share all kind of good information. Travis, how's it going?
It's going good, staying busy.
I know you are. We're about to I know your kids getting ready to start school. You're also getting ready to start softball, baseball, so I know family life is busy. But,
oh, yeah. And
the job itself
yes, sir.
Is going on. So But y'all just took a little trip with last weekend.
We did.
Tell us about this. We got a picture of it. This is cool.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we got a few pictures, and as y'all know, my wife Nicole's an officer with us as well, and she was recognized by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. They had their annual awards banquet, and this is statewide, but just want to recognize her and some other local Bay County officers for their efforts.
Very good.
DUI and BUI enforcement. That's I guess from right to left. That's Nicole. My wife Nicole Bassford with FWC. She was recognized for her BUI enforcement efforts, and then Bob Moss with Panama City Beach Police Department, Sue Barge with FHP, and Matthew Mayfield with Lynn Haven PD.
Wow.
They were all recognized for their efforts. And
well, 3 of them from this area.
Exactly. So,
wow.
You know, really just kind of showcases and highlights their efforts and how they go above and beyond to try to catch impaired drivers and keep us safe, really, on the roads and on the water. So
well, good for her.
Yep, and it was a good trip down there. I tell you, Fort Myers, it's a long ways down there.
I know.
It's a long ways, and I will say we went through Fort Myers Beach, right there south of Fort Myers, and it looked similar to what Mexico Beach looked like after Hurricane Michael. You know, they had Hurricane Ian hit last year, and it was in pretty bad shape. I mean, obviously they're rebuilding and things like that, but that was a nasty storm that hit down there, and it was devastating to that area. So still recovering, but pretty part of Florida as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was fun. And then I don't know if you want to get into.
Well, I'll tell you what, we got some other pictures. Let's see. You were able to go snapper fishing? Let's show these.
We did, yep, and got a few pictures of the family. So we got to go a couple times. That's again Nicole and got Isabella on her first offshore fishing trip. My dad went as well. And we caught some nice ones.
It looked like a pretty day, not too rough out there.
It was very nice that day.
Nice. And,
you know, it's so hot. It's nice to where it's the seas are calm, but you got a little bit of a ripple to kind of keep the breeze going. I think they bite better like that too.
And that's 3 generations right here. Right?
That is right. And that's my dad, and that's a fine one he got there. I think.
So he caught this one.
Oh yeah, I think that's his biggest snapper.
Wow.
And that was a really nice one we had.
I know he went back to office and was really bragging on it, I know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There he is, bowed up on it right there.
Oh man.
Yep, reeling in. So
that's a lightweight. Look how that's a lightweight reel for that big snapper.
It is. That was funny. That's actually Nicole's setup that he caught that on, but it did the job. I think we had, that's like a 30 pound outfit, but But yeah, we had a really good time. Isabella, again, her first offshore trip, and she caught triggerfish, beeliners, red snapper, scamp. I mean, she had a great time. So
well, I know she enjoys catching those beeliners because they're smaller and not that struggle.
Exactly.
Well, you were telling me she said when she started reeling, the reel wasn't working.
Yeah. Well, you know, she's used to fishing in the bay or catching, you know, brim off the neighbor's dock there when we go down to Levi Phillips' dock. And when you got a triggerfish or a snapper on there, it's a little hard to reel in. So she's like, yeah, the reel's not working. I'm like, it worked, baby. He's just pulling hard. So, but she had a really good time. And then one thing you're kind of always concerned about, at least, is like, hey, I hope, you know, if someone new going offshore, you don't want them to get seasick. Yeah. And she did really good. We actually had a storm blow up, and it got rough for a little bit, and she did great.
Oh,
so,
good.
Yep, it was a fun time.
That's a great experience. And you mentioned talking about going offshore. You were checking a boat the other day. We're talking about a water temperature, how hot it is. And you mentioned it was one of the boats they got out there, and they lost their bait. Tell us that story.
Right, yeah. It's just... It's so warm. Yeah. They said they got offshore, and the water temp offshore was like 92 degrees. And when that surface water, you know, got in their bait well, it shot the bait and ended up killing it. So, you know, it's dog days of summer. It's hot, and the farther south you go, the hotter it's going to be in that Gulf. So,
and you know, you're talking about, and some I've been on boats before. We put ice in there, but then and it'll cool down temporarily, but it's going, you know, within 30 minutes.
Right.
So you only got a certain amount of ice.
Exactly. You got to
save that for your fish. You can't do that. Yeah. So you just got to do that sparingly. So that's a challenge this time of year, and you got to have the live bait.
Yeah. That's definitely the best thing when you get out there. So, but like you said, we were talking on the break too. They've been catching a lot of wahoo offshore.
What a banner year for wahoo!
It's been great. You know, earlier in the year, I think that blue water pushed in, but I'm still seeing quite a few, and I think people are kind of in tune to it. So the end of snapper season, everybody had a speeder, you know, coming on the way in to try to catch one. But it's been a great year for them, and then we're seeing a lot of mahi too, being caught, and not just chicken dolphin. We're seeing some nice ones.
Hey, you're not seeing a lot of cobia though, are you?
Not a lot of cobia.
Have you seen hardly any at all?
A handful, and the ones we've seen, they've been caught on wrecks.
On wrecks,
and they're bringing them in when they're bottom fishing, basically. And then, you know, we're seeing some people targeting tarpon along the coast as well.
Yeah.
So
for that too.
It's been a good fishing year, really.
Yeah, it really has. Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll come back and talk about guess what's coming up next week, scalloping. So let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Always great having Travis on. We do a show off there about as good as we do on there. We're talking about all kind of cool stuff and interesting stuff. So we're talking about scallop season. It'll be opening up next Wednesday. A week from today here in the Gulf County area, St. Joe Bay. And it's been a good season down east of here. It's been outstanding, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
You've seen it.
Oh yeah, St. Mark's, like you were talking about Carabel.
Yeah.
They've had really good reports, and it's been a really healthy fishery this year down there.
And early reports, and I'll go and give you my scouting report. I always go to the area behind my house and always scout it out a week or two before, and it didn't look too good. I don't scout the area too much like I used to, but I always sort of scout a big circle, and it didn't look good. So I've heard mixed reports. But anyway, I want Travis to talk a little bit coming from the FWC and their viewpoint and their research, what it shows on scallop. So Travis?
Sure, yeah, we've got some pretty cool information here, and then we can talk about it. And again, like Coach said, season's going to open up next Wednesday, August 16th, and run through September 24th. And this special, I'll call it a special region because it's really close to us, but all state waters from the Mexico Beach Canal in Bay County to the westernmost point of St. Vincent Island in Franklin County. So mainly St. Joe Bay there that we're talking about. That's going to be the area open for harvest. And there is an area, we've had this for the past several years, there'll be an area south of Blacks Island. It's marked with some FWC buoys, and that's going to be like a scallop restoration area, so we want to encourage boaters and divers to stay out of that area. We'll have boats patrolling, but it's very well marked with our buoys.
Well, I don't want to encourage you to stay out of it, you're going to stay out of it. It's illegal to get in.
We have different ways to encourage people, so you're right. But yeah, I'll read this real quick. It's pretty interesting information. So bay scallops have a very short lifespan, 12 to 18 months in Florida. So there are three main fishing grounds: St. Joe Bay, Dixie-Taylor County area, and Citrus County are generally stable enough to support a fishery. And in any season or region, high or low abundance can occur in back-to-back seasons or even persist over longer periods. bay scallop populations appear to fluctuate on a broad 5 to 7 year cycle. Scallop populations may rebound from zero to high abundance or plummet from high abundance to low in 1 or 2 seasons, thus demonstrating the variability and resiliency of the species, but this also adds to vulnerability. Recent studies at FWRI, that's our Fish and Wildlife Research Institute down in St. Pete, show that bay scallop populations are closely tied to environmental conditions, salinity, harmful algae blooms, and habitat, seagrass cover. The association of bay scallops with seagrass, its health, and the extent of seagrass cover suggest as seagrass habit shrinks or expands and its quality improves or declines, that changes in scallop populations will follow over time. Therefore, when considering long-term scallop abundance, healthy and extensive seagrass meadows are a leading factor to having long-term healthy scallop populations. So I know it's a mouthful, kind of tells you a little bit about scallops, but like we know, they're very sensitive, and it has a lot to do with seagrass. So if you like scalloping, which I know Coach and I do, one thing we can all do to try to help is when you're out there and you're getting in that shallow water, when you go to leave, idle, trim your engine up, and try not to leave those prop scars. Try not to damage that seagrass because it's really essential to scallop health.
One thing we talked about that's been interesting over all these years, we talk about there's really not a size limit on them, are they? I mean, so many people I know, we always throw back the small ones. That's just common sense. And so please do that. And even if you think somebody else might get them, but they're not all hatched at the same time. They come in different late, so that could actually could bloom late and spawn late. So that could help really do it for next year. But the biggest thing is the habitat, like you said, and taking care of the grasses. We've talked about that on a regular basis. I know we had it this past weekend, had a scallop rodeo. We hadn't got much results on it, but we'll check it out. But it's one thing I know is all these other seasons open early, but St. Joe Bay opens late, and the reason for that is for conservation, because there are not that many out there in that area.
Right, and that's the thing. I mean, St. Joe Bay, I know a lot of people from Bay County have always went over there, and that's a highly populated area compared to Gulf County, but it's a pretty big bay, but it's not as big as some of these other areas. When you look on a map on some of these other areas that are open for harvest, it's relatively small. So that's why they've got it, later season, smaller season. But still, when you got a little over a month, that's plenty of time to enjoy.
It is.
That allows for some bad weather days and things like that.
You're talking about a size. It is a big bay, but the actual scallop grass area is not all that big in comparison to the bay size. So one thing the FWC put in several years back, and I thought was so good, is open the season in the middle of the week. That is such a great idea, because usually on Saturdays it was like a scene out of Jaws with everybody there. So like us, we'll try to go, maybe we might not even go on Saturday, try to go during the week, and a lot of folks will do that. Sort of spreads out the crowd, and that was a good move there.
I agree. Yeah, that does spread it out, and if people want to, some people will take off, and some people will wait till the weekend, and that way you've kind of spread that out. And anyways, I mean, we're looking forward to it as always. I'm probably going to go over there and help work just because it's such an increase in vessel traffic. Especially the first couple weeks over there. It is
and
very
the flag,
busy.
the diving flag.
Dive flags, yes, sir. And we can touch on that a little bit. I just want to remind everybody, and Coach and I were talking, I think it's been a couple years ago, we had a fatal here in Bay County, fatal boating accident. And there were some divers that did not have a dive flag, and unfortunately a boat came along, struck one, and someone was killed. And that's what we want to avoid, is that. So we just encourage everyone, have your dive flag up when you're in the water, when you're out, and all your divers are out. Make sure you take it down so we don't desensitize people to that flag. We want to encourage people to have the right size. So if you're going to have that float flag, the one that's on the buoy that you kind of tow around with a line, 12 by 12 is the size on that, and then the one on the vessel is the bigger, 20 by 24. And then another thing that we see a lot, and we try to remind people, is we want that flag displayed at the highest point on the vessel. And a lot of people, it's hot out there. It's summertime. You got a T-top, you got a bimini top, you've got something to give you some shade. If you put it in a rod holder and it's blocked by that top, you can't see it from certain angles coming in. So have something or a device, stick it on a PVC pipe or a pole, and get that thing up high so people can see it. Let's see, I've got a few more. I know we probably got to take a break here.
Let's go and take a break. We've got all kind of cool stuff coming back up.
Sure.
We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. We're Officer Travis Bashford. Let's take a look at our fishing game times today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers down there in Port St. Joe. Run by and get your mask and make sure you got your flags and all that. They've got a stock full of them right there. I saw them the other day. Okay, we got 6:19, 8:19 this morning, and 6:45 to 8:45 tonight. And let me say this before we get back to Travis, and this is always one of my pet peeves on scalloping. Football field. Stay a distance between your boat and another boat the length of a football field. Is that simple. And it's so aggravating that you're getting some scallops and all, and somebody comes up right there. It's happened over and over again. I know some people don't know any better, but we need to, most people, it's just common courtesy. Travis?
No, I agree. It is common courtesy, and it's actually, if you're going to be running, you need to stay at least 300 feet or 100 yards away in open water from someone else's dive flag. If for some reason you have to come inside that 300 feet, bring it down to idle, and like Coach said, I think if everyone did stay 300 feet away, then I don't think we'd have as many issues with people saying, "Hey, you coming right up on me," things like that. But if you're going to be running, for sure, stay that 300 feet away. And
I've never said anything to anybody when I went underwater and said a few words, but it's aggravating.
Yeah.
But so we'll do that. Plus we're going to have some rental boats out there that really don't know any better, so maybe we can help educate them. Maybe the folks that rent it to them will tell them to stay football field away.
Right, and that's the thing. When you have people from out of the area, sometimes a little patience and explaining things to them, they're not as familiar. But people that are from here, and we all should know the rules and regulations before we go. Okay. So one more thing I want to talk about dive flags, and I just made some notes here. There's so many different regulations, but stay 300 feet away in open water. If you got to come inside that, make sure you bring it down to idle speed. And then one more thing, a lot of people have some older dive flags. Make sure that you've got a wire stiffener on that flag, so if there's no breeze, it doesn't just fall flat. It holds it straight so people can see it. That's the thing. But anyways, for more information, you can go to myfwc.com/boating safety, and they'll tell you everything you need to know about dive flags. We encourage everyone, have a safe and fun scallop season over there, and maybe we'll see you over there. You want to talk about the case of the month?
Case of the month.
All right.
Okay.
Case of the month, and it's actually over in Gulf County, where we're going to be opening it up with scallops next week. Wanted to recognize Officer Bryce Gerber over there. He does an incredible job for us. He's always making some really good resource cases, getting up early, staying up late, and doing a really good job. And this particular case, this was one he was working late at night over on the Chipola River, and conducted a resource inspection on a vessel. Started talking with the operator, and the guy said he was out running bush hooks. And they get to talking and conversating. He's like, "Okay, well, what you using for bait?" And he said, "Well, I'm using ivory soap." And they start looking on the boat. He's like, "Well, where's the soap? Because even if you bait all your hooks, usually there's some left over." And that's a common thing to use for catfish. But so kind of was showing some deception. Officer Gerber, being experienced, kind of dug into it a little more, and he sees a dip net, and then underneath a cast net hidden was the shocking device that he had.
This is it here?
Yep, and we've got a photo of that he was able to recover and seize as evidence. You see the chain, you see the wire, you see the device, and then of course the dip net. And interview after, the operator admitted to using the device to harvest fish, and that's just something that's not fair to the resource. And a great job by Officer Gerber. Being out there late, this guy was out there very late at night, thinking that he wouldn't get caught because he was intentionally violating the law, and our officer stopped him and made a jam up case.
Good job on that. And it looks like the shotgun used to be a big problem many years ago, then it sort of went away, but now with these devices now, it looks like it's sort of more people are coming back to doing it.
Yes, sir, and it's been going on. It's a difficult case to make sometimes for us. We know it goes on, and I know last year I shared one that some of our Jackson County guys made up on the Chattahoochee River. But yeah, it's a problem. We encourage anyone, if you see someone doing this, please give us a call. You can call Wildlife Alert. We've put that number up there before, and it's just not fair to the resource. And that's why it's illegal.
And you got people going out running bush hooks legally and working hard and putting real bait on it and staying up, working it.
Yeah.
And somebody sort of cheats and does stuff like that. It's not fair. So we appreciate him taking care of that business. So, and if you know of anyone all the time bragging about doing this and that, go ahead and call the tip line, and it's because they're stealing from all of us, and it's not right. So.
They are, and you know, we'll put that number on there again for Wildlife Alert. We appreciate the help from everybody because, and when you see something like that, if you're an ethical fisherman, that should upset you, and we just need the information because we can't be everywhere, so we do need your help on those things. But other than that, it's been really busy. I know Officer Gerber, I know the Webb brothers, they're all going to be busy over there for scallop season. And I think we've got some Bay County officers that might go over there and help a little bit.
That's great. I'm going to be over there. Instead of y'all coming up with me, I'm going to go up to y'all. Because last time I was down there, the Webb boys were working. I went up with them. I said, y'all check me. But I love talking to these guys. And it's just, they're doing something they love to do. Y'all love doing that.
We do.
And you're enforcing the laws that protect all of us and our resources. So I just always got a kick out of them. And has he saved any more wounded animals, anything?
I'm sure he has. I'll have to catch up with him. I talked with Matt a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And you know, we've had deployments to the Keys. We've had some officers in Texas.
Well, that's why y'all been really moving around. I've heard of some officers going out of Texas.
Yes, sir, we have, and that's the Highway Patrol and FWC. We've been steadily sending people to help with the migrant crisis in Texas, and then also in the Keys. And so yeah, it's been very busy summer, and then of course we have everything going on up here. So one more thing, I just want to remind everybody, you know, we had Greater Amberjack and Great Triggerfish opened August 1st. Make sure you stay in tune to, you can go on Fish Rules, go to myfwc.com/saltwater regs to keep track of those if they have an early closure. And then we know Red Grouper had closed. So right now, recreationally, for the private recreational anglers, it's just Amberjack and Triggerfish open, and Snappers closed for the federal fleet. It's going to be open for a couple more weeks here in August for Snappers. So I just want to remind everyone on those.
All right. Well, Travis, we appreciate it. Some good information, and just keep us tuned on what's going on. We've got to get out of here. We appreciate you watching Panhandle Outdoors. Y'all do something good today for someone else. Have a great day, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.